support pillow though because I'm nervous. Like, okay. Hello. Thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Auri, and I currently am a college student who there's quite the journey, quite the story behind so much, and that is why I decided to start a YouTube and a podcast. Studying psychology, however, I focus on neuropsychology or cognitive psychology or behavioral neuroscience, whichever you decide to call it. I'm also a teen mom, however, I do not like that title. I'm just a mother, especially now being 20 is way past that. So, and I decided to start a podcast. Well, I had a podcast already, so I guess I should say hello, hi, welcome back. Thank you for staying patient with me for the past 2 years. 2 years I spent transforming myself, researching how to transform myself, finding balance, which we'll get into soon because that's ultimately what I wanted this video to kind of turn into. And just really taking the time to figure out what I want to do with my life and what I have plans and decide to do going forward, especially being a young mom. I've had to really find a lot of balance and a lot of just peace and time for myself and spaces and at times that for some people might be irregular, but for me it's just whenever I can fit it in. And for some people who have irregular schedules, especially being in college, working and in college, being a parent and working, being a parent in college while working. There is so much going on in the world, and beyond that, regardless if we're taking care of another person that's our kid or not, or just trying to figure out how to take care of ourselves, especially navigating that in our 20s, it can be so nerve-wracking. I'm not even going to say difficult because it's more so nerve-wracking because you figure it out along the way once you just go for it. And yeah, that goes into why I decided to start a YouTube. I just said, let's just go into it. I've already been such a speaker for years, such a reader. Yeah, and speaking of reading, I will be doing videos on book reviews, just my ideas on books, current books that I'm reading for different classes, my opinions. Please follow me on Instagram, Auri Reads and Rambles, where I will be visiting different libraries, different bookstores, different books for different reasons, different genres. I had a book featured for Black History Month, so yeah, go ahead and check me out. Also, don't forget to follow my regular Instagram, Auri Uchia, and then subscribe, follow the podcast, Auri Reads and Rambles, where I ultimately will use that platform for my books and my opinions and what perspective each book is giving me and just how my mind is being opened up in different ways. So yeah, but ultimately that's what this channel intends to be, and I am excited. Thank you so much for tuning in and giving me a chance, just really wanting to hear what I have to say. That means a lot. I mean, I'm sitting here just recording on my iPhone and my AirPods. Just kind of go into it. So, and that is why I had to find so much balance. So let's really get into what I have to say. So I had my daughter when I was 15, and that came with a lot of challenges, a lot of sacrifices, and a need to figure out how, in all honesty, I wasn't going to lose my mind as a human being first, as a young girl trying to figure herself out, as a student, and then just as a parent. So I guess that's really where it all started. Whenever I got pregnant with my daughter, I had to move in with a family member, my dearest aunt, Cindy. And that's when I started waking up at 5 a.m., which, yes, it's currently 5 a.m. that I'm recording. But 5 a.m., I get up, and some days I have everything finished by 12, and that's why I like to do it, and I feel better. And some days I don't have anything finished until 5, 6 o'clock, but I see why I decide to wake up so early. And one thing that I notice when I wake up at 5, I just really have a peace, a type of peace that is naturally given to you. You wake up, rest of the world is usually sleeping. It's very quiet. Everybody's in their homes, either asleep or starting their day. And I just really appreciate being able to open my eyes and I hear nothing but birds chirping. During the summer, if I go outside, and this is a part of self-care, which we'll really also get into, but I'll just go outside, water my plants, and it just feels so good to kind of feel like the only person in the world. It might sound selfish, but starting your day in that way just really feels like it's your day. It's your day to conquer. No matter what happened yesterday, no matter what happened in the past, you really have another opportunity to just figure it out again. And that time at 5 is so peaceful, it's so quiet. Sometimes I figure out how I can just do better today than I did yesterday. At the end of the day, your only competition will be yourself. And that's why balance is so important, to remind yourself of that. So kind of just going on to what I may do next. What I also appreciate about getting up that early is that being a college student and a parent, my child is also sleeping. So for those who may have a roommate, especially in dorms, your roommate might be sleeping. You decide to get up at 5, 6 in the morning. You have that time to yourself. And like I said, that's your day to really just conquer the day on your own. So sometimes I'll check I'll majority of the time, I will check my emails. I'll check my emails. I'll try to finish a quick assignment. I might read a chapter of a book, but I definitely get my shower done. It feels so good to just get my shower done, get the day started. And again, no noise, nobody else around me. When I wake up at 5, I get at least 2, sometimes 2.5 hours of just complete silence. And I mean complete silence. And it feels so good, especially as someone who just turned 20, second year of college, really having a million trillion gazillion thoughts going through my head 24/7. I need them. I need that 2.5 hours to myself. Um, and then going on, that's when I will decide to get my daughter up and spend that time, with her, getting her ready for the day, really showing her you got to pick your clothes out. This is what you wear. This is how you get together. This is how you brush your teeth. This is how you start your day. Getting her breakfast started is so important to me. And I say started because my daughter is 4, turning 5 this year. So she's really been enjoying making her own breakfast. Often she'll get down there before me, put the toasters in the waffle. Put the waffles in the toaster, or she'll make her a bowl of cereal and I gotta put the milk in it. But I do also enjoy that time that I get to make her waffles, and sometimes I make some bacon for her. I get to cut her up some fruit, and it feels good for myself. One of my biggest love languages is taking care of somebody, and you had to fill your cup to be able. I'm really trying to think of what the verse is, but my cup shall runneth over. However, but my cup has to be full first. I cannot help anybody else. But one of the ways that I fill my cup is through helping others, and that's balance. But with my child, especially, that gives me that confidence that I am being her caregiver. It also really feels good as her mom to be able to just get her day started. I feel a lot more confident knowing that she went to school fed. She will, she had the most important meal of the day. Again, I do study psychology, but I also study neuropsychology, and the most important organ in the body is the brain. So if I can feed that and I can love and care for that, her first hour, 2.5 hours of the day, that's a win for me. That is truly a win for me. That small part of my morning really helps me maintain just that peace of mind, just that balance, like what we're really trying to find. Because again, being busy is so important, and I found balance in that too, and we're going to get into that. But being busy is very, very important too. But one thing that comes with being busy is it's going to be stress. And that's why I create this video, is just to really help others, just not allow that stress to blind you from what the ultimate goal may be, or also blind you from that passion that you love, that passion, that love that you have for whatever it is that you are pursuing or trying to pursue. So going into that with school, I map out everything. As you will see, I map out work, I map out the gym, I map out when I eat, when I take a shower, when I email people back. When I really want to get my daughter ready. Now, unfortunately, I can't always follow my schedule word for word. And I hope somebody just heard that, saw that, whatever, and is very happy to see that not everybody, you can't follow your schedule word for word. It's not going to happen. But what you can do is try your best and use that as a guide to, again, help take those thoughts just away from you. Again, you can't complain when you have a full plate when the goal is to eat. And that is something that I really try to live by. I can't complain that I have a lot going on. The goal is to eat. However, I can make it a little easier. I can take breaks in between eating. It's okay. And that's what the ultimate goal is, and finding that balance and using your schedule. I love my digital planner. It's something about it. It's something about my digital planner, especially that it's hooked to my school email. Baby, if you can do that, please do that. If there is a college student listening to me who did not know that you can do that, go. I bet you, especially if you use Outlook, Microsoft, do it. And I believe Google, Gmail can do it the same, but schools use Outlook. So please, if you did not know that you can do that and you needed a way to really schedule yourself out and get that off your shoulders and not constantly think about where you're going to go and what you're going to do and what time, what you need to be focusing on is that moment once you get there. So please utilize that material if you have it, if you want to. And then yes, another big thing that I do and I do not play around with is timing myself while studying. My first year of college, I promise to make a video on that, because my first year of college, unfortunately, like that, and the last 2 months going into the summer of my second semester of my first year of college, so much, I know, I'm so sorry. But I had the craziest burnout ever. I was so tired all the time. I did not want to take a shower. I did not want to eat. I'm sitting there just trying to figure out how am I going to get this next assignment done? How am I going to go throughout the day? I can't stand the fact that I found myself in that. And a big portion, I guess, was cramming. But another big problem was just thinking that I could spend a whole entire day on homework and then like spend the whole week working and then the weekend with my daughter. Absolutely not. You have to find balance. I had to find a way to I had to live outside of school. I had to live outside of my homework. At the end of the day, I'm trying to develop into my future self as a career woman, but also as a human being as well. And if I am burnt out, not only will I hate my job, but I will hate my life. And I refuse to settle for that. And anybody listening to this, watching this, you do not deserve to settle for that. You should not settle for misery nor a miserable life. I don't care what that schedule is looking like, space it out. So, the neuropsychologist student in me is advising you all to study for 30 to 90 minutes. I preferably do 90 minutes, which is an hour and a half. I find just the load of my coursework, I can get at least like a one assignment or like one or a very very good bit of studying for one class done within that hour and a half, and I feel very good after that. And in between studying, because as anybody knows, information retention involves repetition. In classical conditioning, you had to repeat what you are doing. You had to repeatedly read. You had to repeatedly recite over what you're doing, regurgitate what you are doing, and what you are reading, and that helps you comprehend and really lock in the information. So taking breaks in between studying as well and not studying so long, not only does it help with burnout, not only does it help with balance, but you are also saving yourself all that time that you're wasting just to not even get good grades. I mean, in all honesty, when you ask people who sit there and study all day long, I mean, sit and cram so much information into one study session, how their grades are, no. On my Instagram, it may look like I study all the time, 24/7, but I don't. I find so much balance because, for one, I refuse to settle for misery. And number two, I want to know what I'm talking about. So I have to live outside of it and bring it up in conversations like YouTube or like a podcast, or I'm on the street with somebody and they're asking me a question and I'm like, oh, hey, did you know this fun fact? You had to live outside of that because, again, not only are you developing into a career person, a career woman, in my world for the girls, not only am I doing that for myself, but you are trying to develop into a human being. You don't want to be an angry adult. And that's a different conversation because there's other things that turn into angry adults. But I promise you, people who wake up and hate their job, be like, you. When I said that, you thought of somebody. We all know somebody who hates their job, and unfortunately, it forces them to hate their life because you need a source of income, and not everybody can be business owners. Let's settle for that, and let's really give everybody the grace. And not everybody can be a business owner. Not everybody even wants to do that. So when you are working in corporate America, it can be hard and it can be stressful. And I had seen people, I mean, 40 years old now, some of my friends' parents miserable because they got stuck in the idea of having to settle in corporate America when you 100% can take that time to live outside of that work, to live outside of what you think your passion is, to really find what you're passionate about. Because believe it or not, a lot of people who don't live outside of their work, they find out they don't even like what they're doing either once it comes down to it. So, you really just want to allow yourself to take the time to live outside of your schoolwork and take breaks in between your schoolwork, because I'm telling you from real experience, you will get burned out. You will, I mean, become so exhausted that everybody around you can see it and feel it, and that is not cute, sis, like, at all. That's not cute at all. So you really want to watch that. And then in between everything that I am talking about, most importantly, is taking care of yourself and self care. Now, we can talk about balanced diets as well, but I do want to reserve that for another day because everybody is so different. Everybody's body is so different. Everybody's goals are different. So, that's gonna take a lot more research, and I one thing I don't like doing is coming into conversations ignorant. So when it comes to self-care, one thing I have been doing very good with since starting this year, and anybody who listens to my podcast from 2 years ago, you will hear me talk about fitness a lot, or just fitting that into your schedule, because honestly, for me, it was therapy is very, very expensive. It just is. And as an adult, it's a lot harder to get it as well. So when I work out, not only do I feel more confident about myself after, but all around, I just feel so good to have had I just feel so good working the thoughts off. I go into the gym sometimes with the most crazy thoughts, especially when I go at the end of the day or in the morning. When I go in the middle of the day, I feel pretty good because I'm already in the middle of being productive. So when I'm productive, I am very happy. But in the middle of the day or at the end of the day, I have a lot of thoughts. When I work those off, I feel so good. It's one of the biggest reasons why I played 3 sports in high school, and was not. I was, even like when COVID happened, I jogged every morning. When I had my daughter, I strapped her up. I forget what they're called, but you strap them up to the front of you. I had her strapped up to the front of me, walking up and down hills that my aunt lived around, walking around everywhere, because I need to work it off. I just had to work it off. I had to work the thoughts off. That's something that I've always been very passionate about. I will fit that into my schedule because it makes me happy. And again, you cannot put time into anything else efficiently without putting that time into yourself. It's impossible. You can go ahead and try it. I've tried. You will become miserable and it becomes impossible. It really is. I'm sorry, but it's just you cannot do anything else if when you do not take care of yourself. It's just so hard. It is so hard to even have the energy to do it. Because eventually it hits you in the head when you're like, man, I treat myself like crap. Everybody else around me gets treated so wonderful by me, and the energy's not reciprocated because you are not giving it to yourself. I promise you, when people say the energy's not reciprocated, not you are not giving it to yourself. You're so focused on giving it to everybody else. It's right there. It's in the pudding. It's right there. It's right there. So that's something I have to fit into my schedule 100%. And then, as like, sometimes though, being a mom, it's hard to fit all the things that I love doing for myself, all the things that I have to do as far as creating a life for me and my daughter, and then also being a mom. So, if I have to do homework in between any of those things. Now, one thing that I might have to do is watch my lecture videos maybe while I'm grocery shopping, watch my lecture videos while I'm at the gym. But then there's other times where I do get that time by myself. So, again, that's when we go back to utilizing those scheduling materials, methods, different ways to really organize your time to be able to create that balance for yourself. And it can become stressful to do that. So that's why there are many apps out there that you can use to utilize that for yourself. And again, finding what works best for you, finding that balance, finding what helps you maintain balance within yourself, because it's not just balancing everything that you have in life. When you are unaligned and you are just not you anymore, it spills onto everything else. It spills onto everything else, and it's just not cute. We don't want that. It's just not cute. We don't want that. I am going to leave that there because, again, this is me relaunching my podcast. Kind of nervous. And then this is also me putting out my first ever YouTube video. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for tuning in, for watching. If you made it this far, especially, please, again, don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Auri and Rambles for my book page, and Auri Uchia for my regular page. And like, subscribe, follow the podcast. My platform is Spotify. I don't know why I did not think to put that in the beginning, but so thank you. I hope you enjoyed watching, listening. You have a wonderful day. I hope you find balance in your day. I hope you found this video, or however you are getting this message, helpful, and you take something from it.